because there's value in
Fucking
suffering.
fuck
And
Dan
in
Crenshaw,
today's
by the way.
society, we
You know,
have
also,
convinced
like, a lot of
ourselves that
people
there
did
is
not
no
like this
value in
video.
suffering, that the entire role of, say, government is to end your suffering. But this is a false promise. Not only is it a false promise, but it will create a weak society that is
Look at
unable
top
to
comment.
sustain itself. That's a really important point, and I think there's deep truth in that. This is why victimhood politics is so dangerous, and I would say populism is too. I think the two are almost indistinguishable from each other. People are always trying to talk about populism on the right and the left, and I say, look, well, here's what populism is. It's telling you what you feel. It's mirroring your feelings back to you. It's telling you what you want to hear as opposed to the truth. So that, I think that's a decent definition of populism. I don't like it. I don't like people embracing it. It doesn't just mean, hey, things that are good that people are for. Well, you know what? A lot of people are for $1,600 checks that are free. That doesn't mean it's a good policy.
Right.
That's a good example
Right.
of populism.
People voted. If they voted and said, "Do you want $100,000 free a year?"
Totally.
Everybody would vote yes.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But is it a sustainable policy? No, of course
Right.
not.
Of course not.
And the kind of amounts to the I think drastic lurches and
My patches are too cool, which is the very frustrating thing since Dan Crenshaw is the opposite of all things cool. This was on Hassan's stream, but it did really crack me up so much. I have to repeat it. But they were saying that there's no real difference here between was it Beto O'Rourke that he said? He was talking about how much of a pussy ass Crenshaw is. I think he was talking about who was it? I think he might have been talking about Beto. He was like saying punished Beto. Like punished. It says punished Beto O'Rourke. No, not Beto. It was somebody else. Damn it. I can't think of it. But yeah, punished.
Things
ironically, giving out free money actually isn't a terrible
populism
policy.
on steroids.
Actually.
It's telling you what you want to hear. And that's not truth. That's not truth. And we have to get back to truth. And we have to get away from this victimhood mentality where we actually elevate this idea of being helpless. See, that's what's changed.
Shut up.
That's what's changed in the last
decade. This is
the
very frustrating thing to me when they're talking always about like this helpless victim culture when this is not at all what it's about. We know this. We know that this is not being a victim. You can't actually pull yourself up by the bootstraps. If the government isn't there to be there for support for its people, then what the fuck is it for? I don't like this idea, like, excuse me, conservatives like, oh, well, it's, passing bills and legislations and like making, I guess, what, richer people richer? No, it is there for the people. This idea that like the government giving out handouts. No, motherfucker, I pay for the government. This idea that like the government shouldn't support its people is fucking mind-blowing. And the fact that they've gotten people to think that they are like crying because they need help from the government is insane, because the government wouldn't exist, they wouldn't have jobs. He would not have a job if it wasn't for you. So you're not giving me a handout, motherfucker. You're giving me what you owe me. Oh, I just hate this shit. Sorry.
It used to be that, well, you might feel some shame if you were the type to, you know what, I need some help. I feel bad about it. I'm going to get back on my feet, but I need some help right now. That used to be the sort of American way, right? We need a safety net. Nobody would disagree with that. We need a safety net. We need to help people who have truly fallen on hard times, who lost their jobs because of COVID. But does that also mean we need to provide a $1,400 check to somebody who never lost their job and whose biggest hardship has been Zoom meetings?
There's an air of truth to what he was getting at, which Bernie brings up, right? Do not pay the people who are making over 100,000. However, the people that are making 75,000, which is just enough, mind you, to continue living in this society, in this culture here, also which was based on your previous last year's taxes, which so you could have lost your job since then. Yeah, those people who are also having a job, who may be working less, many people who are employed are also underemployed, probably need some extra money. This is just...
Of course not. But over 100 million people were getting checks that never lost their jobs.
100 million?
Easily.
Through COVID?
It's way more. It's way more than that. I'm cutting it off at 100 million. So
hold on, explain that to me.
Boy, you better finish those up like now.
Checks, the direct cash payments. I've always been against direct cash payments.
So
I'm against direct cash payments because I don't think that the people here in America know how to use their money. Maybe you should fucking teach it in a school. Now, look, in regards to like things like they're doing yeah, I forgot they pushed that back. But still, you should do it. I already got my refund. No, got off track. I understand, like, in regards to like reparations, like when we talk about reparations to Black folk in America, like, yes, those should come in the form of like better institutions, better education, things like that. But when we're talking about right now where people just need money for fucking groceries, yeah, maybe you should have direct payments. Like, it's just ridiculous.
COVID stimulus checks.
Yeah.
So
Because they go out to
people
anybody who
got
makes
those checks that didn't lose their jobs.
Of course.
Joe. Yes,
What?
Joe.
Yeah, if you, the cutoff was like $75K a year. So that means
Wait a minute.
Which,
That means every
yes,
federal-
especially, by the way, they're going off their old taxes. They could have still lost their fucking job. Why?
well, not
So
every,
people
but a lot
that
of federal
didn't
workers
lose
getting them
any
too.
money because of the pandemic still got checks.
Yeah, these were never based on your situation.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
It's ridiculous.
I didn't know
Joe,
that.
by the way, I'm pretty sure here is Joe can be great sometimes. And Britain just paid you 80% of your wage if you couldn't work over COVID. Yeah. Which should be done. And that's also done with someone like Boris Johnson, right? But Joe here has a really big issue about like when he brings people on, he just kind of like lets it seep through and kind of like just goes along and agrees with it and really doesn't provide pushback. Because I feel like part of what he's confusing this with is unemployment, which you didn't get unemployment if you were unemployed. Hey, thanks for the follow. Thanks for the follow, Juice Unknown. But yeah, you're not getting that unemployment if you weren't unemployed. Yeah, direct stimulus into the economy is important. The fact that Joe just like goes along with this and like, what? No, I feel like he's just confused and he lets people really take over his platform. And that's, I think Vosh brought this up. And I think this is very valid. It's like platforming can be okay if you're responsible with it. The difference is like Joe can be fun sometimes, but he's not responsible with it. And what he does is he just lets people take over his platform and say the most insane shit. So
I
Yeah.
thought you had to lose your job. I
what's
thought
going
there was
on,
a
Andy? I see
problem.
you there too.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
If you're
So
Nice to
people
see everyone.
who never lost a penny. So if you look at their tax receipts, you look at their what they made in 2019
Right.
versus 2020.
Correct.
If they didn't lose any money.
Yeah, no, it's based on your just your income. So I think 75K a year was the cutoff. But also if you're a married couple, 150K, and if you have kids, then it's even more.
We'll
So you've got like
So if
I've got like
you're
a lot of
up
active
with
duty
that dislike
military
ratio.
friends. who are
By the
getting
way,
thou-
this was by far, Raven, he kind of just assumes everyone who goes on is telling, yeah, exactly. He goes on and presumes that people are just like, yeah, good for and talking about it. He'll defend this with like, oh, I just wanted a good conversation, you know? But that's BS. And by the way, people did notice is look at this fucking ratio here, which is not normal for Joe. Joe is usually on the ball, and since he's moved to Spotify, it seems like I think he's been being viewed more as out of touch, which as you can see from the first comment, yeah, 7.1K, 10K dislike. Joe is telling on himself in this clip on how much he is out of touch, which he has been. And I like Joe. There's a lot of great things, and I don't think he's a Republican. I don't think he's a conservative. But still, like, this is just mind blowing. Like, just lets people take over his extremely large platform and just go nuts with it. I'm a single father of 2 kids. I never lost my job due to COVID, but my hours were cut because I have to yeah, exactly what I was talking about with underemployment, by the way. To take my kids to school, and I have to get off early to pick them up. Their school hours were changed. My son only goes to school 2 days out of the week, but I've lost plenty of money on childcare and time from work. What I'm trying to say is these people have no idea of individual situations. Things are very hard for me already. COVID just made it extremely hard. Fucking exactly. dude, these situations are not like normal. Of course, people need direct cash, like injection. So the fact that like he's like, what? People that weren't like, you can still have a job and then be reduced in hours, and that's still being affected. This idea, the fact that also that anyone thinks that fucking Dan Crenshaw is a representative of his people is batshit lunacy. Anyways, I'm sorry. Just I think Joe thinks that he's talking about uh, um, unemployment, but he isn't. That's not what's being talked about. Justin, if Boris lad ran in America, would be more left wing than Biden, especially when it comes to the economy. Yeah, probably. I don't know Boris's positions that well, but I do know that just in general, like most people in Britain, like even their right wingers are far more left than most of our own people here.
Thousands of dollars.
Democrats,
because they have kids, but it's like, why? And they're like, why am I getting this? Is such a waste of taxpayer money. I mean, do your duty and go spend it on a local business that's been suffering.
The money was allocated to people that lost money because of the pandemic.
No, because we already have a system for that. It's unemployment insurance. Our system works
talks
fine
about it.
for that. And this was
So
always my thing. It's like, look, I'm in favor of temporarily boosting payments to those who are unemployed on unemployment insurance. Usually, state-run unemployment insurance runs at it's at a formula that would make sure that you're not making more than you would have if you were already employed, because you don't want to have a disincentive to go back to work.
Right.
What we did in the initial stages of the pandemic was increase that to an extra $600 a week if you're unemployed. I'm okay with that for a few weeks during hard times. The problem is Democrats want to keep it forever.
all good, Raven.
And now
No, thank
every
you
business
for
I
no matter
talk
what
to is
for
like, I can't hire
putting
people.
in those hours.
I have so many job openings right now, can't hire anybody because we still have it. It's $300 a week, but we still have it. It means people are getting paid to stay home. There's a distance. They're making a purely rational financial decision. But again, that's one conversation. That's at least a debate to be had, during hard times. But the direct cash payments, that's nuts. That's nuts.
What are the direct cash payments?
That's the free money. That's the free money.
So
the
this
free
is
money,
the people that,
mind
even
you,
though
the free money that you fucking paid for as a taxpayer. But can't be a victim now. You can't take that money for yourself because I mean, who's going to pay for that? Even though it's you paid for it. All right, I'm in a mood.
Still
I'm
make the
3
same
beers
amount they
deep
made
too.
in
So like,
2019
Yep.
in 2020
Not
they got a
helping.
big check for no reason.
Yep, 100%.
That seems crazy.
And that's
if you didn't lose your
if
job,
you do the math, that's well over 100 million people.
and they just got it. They didn't ask for it. They just
Yeah.
received it.
No,
So it's not
agreed,
something
Raven.
they're guilty of.
Yeah.
and then make them feel like they're part of like some victim complex. Like maybe you should stop crying. Like, why do you need extra money? Dude, I paid you. What the fuck? No, you, like I said before, you owe me. Like, this is not a victim thing. This is, I gave you money, now do what the fuck you're supposed to. So this idea, like this conservative idea of like, just put all yourself by your bootstraps. Why does the government need to take care of you? Bitch, I hired the government to do what I needed them to, like provide a fucking service. Think about it like that.
They just received
Yeah,
it.
dude.
But it gets to the cultural argument that we're talking about. No, there was no backlash for this. Even on the right, I remember, I was a little frustrated with the president or the ex-president.
No, it wasn't.
Trump, the president I voted for. That he was pushing for those $2,000 cash payments.
Crenshaw, by the way, speaking as a
Don't you
bad,
think that he was doing that?
Crenshaw is a big ass fucking pussy. Especially some guy that likes to portray himself as some big ass Navy SEAL who has continued to push legislation to keep military in the shit. Like, no, he doesn't care about anything other than the fact that he's getting money from like oil.
politically, and I didn't vote for
That's
him.
the point.
But don't you think
But
that
that's
was
the point.
That's
That's
political.
That's exactly the point. There's an incentive now to pay people off with their own money, and it's not good.
Pay
Yeah, but
people off
don't
with
you
their
think that he was in a
own money.
desperation situation where he just wanted to get reelected?
What?
I mean, he's coming through
This
this.
was
whole,
in December. He'd already.
What
lost.
does that mean? I just don't get it. Oh my god, I hate it.
Oh, so in December after he lost, he still, but he didn't think he lost. He thought he was still gonna,
conversation. I don't know if you
that's
want to
a
get into
different.
it.
It's a good conversation. He thought he was going to somehow or another get reinstated.
I don't know if he ever truly believed that, but
Yes, he did. Shut the fuck up, Dan.
He was pushing for it.
But yeah, it just on the
There we go.
victimhood side, This is the demise of the republic.
A fallen
when,
legend.
When people are comfortable with being bought off with their own tax dollars,
Finished.
and being comfortable, and
Finished
more
data.
than that, comfortable with being told that they're victimized and that some other group is responsible for that victimization.
Right. So it's
This is
not just
identity
that they're in a bad
politics.
situation. They're in
This is, if we're talking about African Americans, we know this. In fact, we have plenty of dedicated research on such things. So this is not a victim. Don't let them gaslight.
Bad
Don't
Somebody
let
else
them
is-
someone did it to
pretend
you.
like
And
they
maybe it's
know
the
better
1%.
because they
Maybe
don't.
it's
And they don't
those-
have any
those mean
data or
corporate
information
giants, and now those
to
corporate
show
giants
it.
trying to get all
And
woke
the
and get
fact
on
is that all they'll do is just say that, well, I believe this, even though they'll bring no data to back up anything.
Democrats' good side, like they always do,
yeah.
They don't
because
care.
they
don't
don't because
care
they want to
about
maintain
what
their
is
little piece of
actually
the
happening.
pie.
That's where it gets tricky, right? Where they manipulate the narrative and they realize where people's heads are at, so they try to jump on board. Catch
The
a new
narrative
episode.
of data. All right. The one I'm
Rogan
curious about.
experience.
Yeah, but there's also like gun culture that people don't like. The celebration of shooting things and blowing things up. People get angry at that because they feel like it's glorifying it, and they feel like you're going to get those guns and put them in the hands of shitty, toxic male people, and they're going to want to shoot people.
If 400 million guns in this country, if we were a problem, you would know it.
Yeah, but
I mean, we have more guns
It's
than
really
people in
that
this
simple.
country.
It's an
there's
old,
so many guns, right? That's what's crazy.
And the
There's
thing
more
about it-
guns than people.
and
No.
yet and still we don't lead.
I think the most frustrating part is that there's things that need to be fixed in both parties, but because of how crazy the Tea Party has been, which has become mainstream conservatives, we can't focus on fixing things. Agreed. Yeah, no, I mean, doing that. I'm sorry. No, exactly. I mean, the problem with this type of partisanship specifically is that if they go crazier, which in general the Dems have more or less stayed the same, which is just neoliberalism, which is just keeping the status quo as is, but that the Tea Party has always dragged it further and further, right? And now we have the Republican Party as is. Yeah, I mean, party-wise, I mean, I want ranked choice voting and more accessibility for parties. But yeah, as it is, Tea Party is definitely. I don't know why it keeps dinging. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, they put us in a very hard spot that we need to combat this. The fact that people are just the conservatives are so in line with this type of ideology is very frustrating.
The world in gun deaths.
Who does?
The Democratic Party, the politicians are a different thing, but the demographics of the Democratic Party are much more diverse, which would make sense as well. It's the larger party. There's many, that's why they call it a big tent party. It's much more diversified.
That's a good question. I think because we came in we were right. I think we're like at 12, number 12 or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, we're not.
I thought we were number one.
No, we're not.
We need to work harder, boys.
Not.
We're number one.
Hold on. Probably in comparison to OECD nations, so quote unquote first world nation. Yeah, okay. So Brazil and then United States. He said these nations produced half the world's gun related deaths. He's saying we're like 12. PBS, okay. In 2016, more than 250,000 people worldwide died in a result of firearms. Of those people, those deaths came from 6 nations, including the U.S. The new numbers from the University of Washington Health Metrics Evaluations study global burden of diseases, injuries, and risk factors offer several new ways to measure the impact of gun deaths worldwide. Half of all gun deaths in 2016 in 6 nations: Brazil, the United States, Mexico, Venezuela, Colombia, and Guatemala. Together, the study published in the journal JAMA noted Alabama JAMA. Sorry, needed to do it. Anyways, these countries hold less than 10% of the world's population. Okay. Yeah, you're right. They're not number 1, but they're definitely not number fucking 12. And the country in first over here is run by a fucking fascist. Like what? All right. Again, always the best knowledge on the Joe.
No, but even still, again, 65% of
Exactly. That's what I was saying. Comparing ourselves to OECD nations, if we're gonna compare ourselves outside, comparing us to like fucking El Salvador or somewhere else, that's great. And not saying anything harmful about those countries. They're beautiful, great places. Many of them I want to go to and visit. But the fact is their infrastructure, their crime, and many different things are very different because the fact is we live in immense privilege, no matter who you are. Now, that's not, well, to some extent, I disagree with actually that last statement. There's plenty of people in the US that are living very below the poverty line and living much worse lives. But on a comparative scale, we're generally like, even most poor people live at a level of privilege compared to most people around this world that are not part of members of the OECD nations or the quote unquote first world nation. And this idea that like you said, well, we're not the most in gun deaths. I mean, have you thought about like Colombia? Like, what the fuck is that argument? But we're even second in compared to them. And mind you, the fucking freest nation is also the one that has the most prisoners, not per capita, not by mass, by numerical integer numbers, more than China, more than everyone, more than any other country in this world. We have more prisoners. That's insanity. And so like when people try to like, well, this is the land of the free, or well, we don't have that many gun deaths. I don't know what the fuck that voice was. That is so disingenuous and so bullshit. Anyways, sorry, rant over. I'd still say that just living in the US is a privilege. Agreed. Even some people are living in poverty. Yep, agreed. Sorry, a large number of people in poverty. Yeah, no.
those are
Agreed.
suicide.
Like, there are plenty of people even that are maybe living worse than some others in other countries. But even in general, if even in poverty in America, you're generally at some more of an advantage. You have more of an opportunity of getting out of that poverty. That being said, there's a lot of people that live in the like Appalachians, that live in places like this that really don't have a great anything in the form of good healthcare, the form of anything very decent around them. And so like I don't want to diminish that because poverty in America is still terrible. But on most levels, even at poverty levels, you still have this privilege of like being able to maybe move slightly. Not saying that America's good or anything like that, but just in a global context, like there's so many other opportunities to get up and out of this the situation. So comparing us to these other countries when talking about gun violence is insane. We should be comparing ourselves to our peers, not like fucking Venezuela and Colombia. It's just insane.
Right.
But then and so I can hear people say all the time, they'll say, well, those suicides are more efficiently done because of guns.
We are now at the top of the hour. You know what they say? The doctor says you run an ad on the top of every hour. It keeps the pre-rolls away. I need to find a better way of quoting that and making it more fun. Anyways, I'm going to run a quick 2-minute ad break. That way we have 30 minutes free of pre-roll ads. You can subscribe with your Twitch Prime for an ad-free viewing experience. Or use an ad blocker. I do not care. Anyways, we are going to run these 2 minutes ads and continue watching this video.
So I was like, so what's the solution? Ban guns?
Make it harder?
No, but
to kill yourself?
I mean, by banning guns.
Yeah.
Like I said at the beginning of this, the only logical conclusion.
Enjoy those ads, suckers.
What's up?
United States is low if you're going per capita, but that like you take the top 10 and you add them all up, and it's not as many as it happened in the United States.
So we're number 1.
Number 2 behind Brazil.
Ah! All right. Thank you, Jamie. The one, mind you, the one person with a little bit of sanity on the fucking podcast, and people love to dismiss him. Fucking pull that shit up, Jamie. God damn. Thank you. For the win, dude.
In terms of the actual like total number.
Total deaths.
I'm definitely in
Total
a
deaths.
mood
Now,
today.
what's the
Sorry,
population of
guys.
Brazil's got a lot of people. Wow. We're number one, number two by 14,000.
But per 100,000, we're number 25, 20.
Which I think is a more accurate assessment if you take into account the number. What's the
Per
population of
capita.
people in
What?
Brazil?
So
No. I think it's more of an accurate assessment if you don't count it per capita. No, because we're measuring violence, motherfucker, not measuring how many people die. Because the fact is we have a very large country, but others have larger as well. The fact that you want to just dismiss this per capita argument, which is a normal thing, by the way, especially with conservatives. Oh, it's only per capita. I mean, no, because this is relative to our size. That means it's still very much pertinent. Definitely needed someone to call out their bullshit.
capita, we're number 20.
Jamie has tried, and Jamie has also been given dog shit before for his views, which is
Brazil has
bullshit.
a lot of people. Go back to the actual.
And like I said, I don't think Joe is a complete asshole. I don't think he is. I think he is actually a pretty reasonable person. He just, for some reason, has this need to bring on the biggest dupes, and they just fill his fucking mind with bullshit. And I understand, like, that he brings Alex Jones on for the lulz and for the memes. I get it, but it would be better if he didn't fucking entertain Alex's like bullshit ideas or all these other people that he brings on, and how much he loves to just go down on trans issues. And I understand there's parts of it, especially like in the fighting community, I totally get. I think there's actually a decent conversation there, but he never opens it up in a proper way. Like, it's just so annoying.
Numbers again? What do we got?
No, Hassan does that.
This is
And that's
So there's
2016.
6,000 ish.
I love Joe. I love
6,000.
very similarly to Hassan. I really enjoy listening to Joe Rogan. I just can't do it anymore because like it's just so frustrating when he pulls on people like Dan fucking Crenshaw, this guy who I think is part of the NRA. I don't know for sure. I think I recognize this guy though as part of the NRA TV. I think that's who he is. Let's check.
Ish more in Brazil per year than the United States, which is that's surprising.
Got a little worked up there.
But deaths per 100,000, they have 19. We have 10. That's a big
Patriots.
jump. It's almost double.
And there's way more people in India, and they have way less.
Yeah.
It's Colin
Way
an
more
American
people,
gun
right?
rights
They have like a
activist,
billion
and
people.
most of the
And then Mexico surprisingly
web series
low.
Noir.
Look at Mexico. That's
Yeah,
really
over
low. I'm
23
kind
million.
of shocked by that. They have less than half what we have. Huh. Interesting.
Here it
Deaths
is.
per 100,000.
What? Hold on. Are you talking about population?
No.
Yeah, NRA TV. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, is a complete shill for the NRA. Yeah, of
the
course he
amount of
doesn't have
deaths they
anything
have
bad to say
Yeah.
about.
from guns.
But what's the population of Mexico?
Well, it says deaths per 100,000. They have 11.8 deaths. We have 10.6. So wouldn't that make them more than us? There's a total deaths.
in terms
Yeah.
of per capita.
Yeah, per capita. They're
But as
higher.
far as
Jesus.
total numbers,
Bro, look at Venezuela.
The total numbers doesn't really matter, especially when we're comparing deaths. A guy, you're really drawing on semantics to try and prove a bullshit argument.
38
oh yeah.
deaths per 100,000. They have a lot more. Holy shit,
this
man.
is their number one, or El Salvador.
El
Joe's definitely
Salvador's
kind of an idiot.
nine.
But it's only 2,500.
Especially when he has
each
these
side,
NRA
just
fucking folks
comparatively.
who, mind you, are oddly, by the way, NRA has and helped fund anti-gun rhetoric only one time. Bills, mind you, not just rhetoric. You know when? It was when black people were showing that they could fucking also carry weapons. The NRA does not give a fuck about their weapons. They care about their wealthy white donors. All right? So don't fucking listen to them. You want to join a gun collective and own guns, including myself, I would like to do. I want to join the SRA, the Socialist Rifle Association.
Still
That's why it's so dangerous.
super dangerous.
13 in Greenland.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Greenland has a population of 2 people.
Yeah, they just killed each other and they jumped up to
That's
number 1.
that's why.
Yeah, it's wow, Puerto Rico's that
Why
high
we
on the
do
list?
per
Go back
capita,
up to that.
motherfucker.
I'm gonna have to call
Why
John
is it counted
Donaher.
separately? It's part of America.
Because it's not.
Same with the
I
Virgin
mean,
Islands.
it
Yeah,
is.
you would think, but
it
that's
is
where
not America. It's like neither is
Americans
Hawaii.
have that money, though.
You know, I mean, Hawaii is America, but let's be honest, we stole that shit. You know,
Yo,
Not
and then
we.
that's the annoying thing is then Joe comes in with some based shit right here. Based. You're not wrong, Joe. Congrats. You're right. You nailed it. And then he has fucking Tulsi Gabbard on here, who is also from Hawaii, but a fucking idiot as well.
but somebody did.
I'm in a
It's
mood.
5 hours by plane in the middle of the ocean. How the
Socialist
fuck is
Rifle
that a map?
Association, by the way.
And
You're
It's
unaware.
kind of like all the cities in Houston.
yeah, this place. I mean, this
Good organization.
This chart
I've
is
been
kind
wanting
of
to become a
surprising.
member
Seeing
myself.
Those, the death numbers. That is surprising. But so number 1 all total deaths though is Brazil.
No
So we're
alternative.
number 2 for all total deaths. But Brazil, I don't believe has the same population as America. What is Brazil's total
Would
population?
be correct, Joe.
I want to say 100 million rather. That's my guess.
211.
211, and we
Wow.
have 300 million.
Yeah.
About
Yeah. Brazil's dangerous as fuck though in some areas like the favelas. You ever see
Oh.
City of God?
yes,
Woo!
Yeah.
What a crazy
I
movie
know.
that is.
in an eerily way.
What's
very
going on,
realistic.
proletariat
Yeah.
parrot?
Yeah. Well, it's a brilliant movie.
How you doing
It's
today?
a brilliant movie.
Very
But
much so.
yeah, Brazil's got a strange situation.
I mean, I think recently they just. I think the new
Yeah,
president
that is a
just
strange
kind
fucking
of
situation in Brazil, bud.
loosened the grip on the gun laws in Brazil. But generally
really?
speaking, the gun laws in Brazil are very, very strict.
Mm.
It is interesting that
Yeah.
places with the
Are
highest
fascists.
gun laws in America are the places with the most amount of gun violence. That's
Holy
so
shit.
strange.
This is the
Well, I
annoying
think-
thing
I
about
think-
Joe, because sometimes he actually comes out with some actually woken based takes, but it's very few and far between. And then there's sometimes like his brain is just he's not like, it's very frustrating because he has these moments where he jumps out of his monkey brain for a moment and like is actually thinks and actually does care about the working class. I don't think that Joe means to do harm. I actually think he means to do good, but he lets so many of these just stupid ass people, fucking heads, come onto his fucking. I don't think he realized how giant of a platform he had. I think Jamie needs to whoop his ass on this a little bit and really inform people because this is where he fucks up so much and lets these people come on his platform and spew this fucking bullshit. I think it's all the elk meat doing it, if I'm honest. And I feel you, Parrot. I just got done with school too. Just finished out this semester yesterday. Finished up a 10-page research paper on. I did a 10-page research paper on Evangelion. But I just finished that up, and now I'm back to relax a little bit. Gonna apply for some internships, some jobs, and stream throughout the summer. But I'm just trying to take my time, drink a little bit, have some fun. But I know that feeling. I needed to get out of school. I was done with Zoom University.
Because by and large, the attempted solution for the violence, because those places also have the highest concentrations of inner cities,
Right.
and so their solution for those
There's
those things
socioeconomic
was always
solution.
gun control,
Those-
and in response to it, it's always more gun control.
Thank you,
Or
Patriot
add more gun
Parrot,
control.
for the
If that doesn't
follow.
work, sprinkle a
Means
little
so
bit more gun
much.
control. If
Like
that-
the old Joe Rogan, he shouldn't allow Ben Shapiro or other authoritarians on though. I don't disagree with the sentiment. I think Bosch brings up a very valid point with this. It's like it's okay to platform people, but it depends on like how you're platforming. Joe never pushes, just about never. And generally when it does, it's more progressive things that he just doesn't understand. But he often brings on these very chud-like types. This guy who's done stuff for NRA TV and the like. Patriot Parrot? I meant Proletariat Parrot, but in my defense, I think you are a patriot. Proletariat parrot. I think you are a patriot as well, okay? As if you are for the proletariat, you are a patriot in my mind, okay? Um we need to reclaim that word back. That's my feeling. But yeah, no, goddamn. Like I said, I'm a few beers deep and I'm laughing. But no, he needs to stop bringing on these ridiculous shills, like people like the NRA and, like you said, Ben Shabibo, who want to spew nothing besides BS propaganda.
That doesn't work. Let's put just a little bit more gun control. This time I promise this gun control will work. And then it keeps happening. Gun control.
Except we haven't actually been able to implement any real gun control, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Then it keeps happening.
Control,
Whatever.
gun control, gun control. That's the point that I'm making. The answer was always going to be gun control.
You're right. Based and blue pilled, dude. Like, you're right. We need more gun control. Fact is that we actually have not been able to implement any real federal gun control solutions. I don't know what the fuck he thinks he's talking. I'm a patriot for the poor and working class. I'm not a patriot for white. Fuck yeah, hoorah, fucking yeah. No, I'm all for it, dude. Dude or madame or ND. No, I feel that. I feel it. I feel it.
Catch new episodes.
Shut up, Joe. Hey.